Hello, everyone. Welcome to of the Wrestling Fans Insight. I'm your host, John Hoppy. Alongside here, William. How's it going?
It's going very well. I was excited about yesterday being a beautiful day, and then
Really? Huh?
Yeah, today's gloomy.
So, have to tell a little story here, of course. Sarah and I decided to go up to Evanston last night.
Whoops.
Sarah was looking at the weather and all that, but what she wasn't checking out was if there was road closures.
Yeah, no.
I-80 East was closed from Evanston all the way to Rollins. And I've never experienced I-80 shutdown yet. When it was shut down in Evanston last night, we got in there and there was, I kid you not, there was semi-trucks parked all over the damn city. They were either like on the left shoulder, the right shoulder. Hell, they were even parked like in the medians throughout the damn town. And I'm like, oh shit, I feel bad for all these guys.
Iffy considering how thin the roads are there.
Yeah, I mean, well, not just how iffy, but how terrible the roads are due to, the damage from the weather and all that.
Yeah, from what I saw, they're actually shutting down a bunch of the ski resorts here for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's getting pretty terrible, but I want to give a shout out to all the truck drivers that drive I-80 throughout the Wyoming stretch. I know that's a really tough route this time of year, and I pray that y'all stay safe. And hope you all are able to do your jobs and make the money and provide for you and your family. So, anyways, sorry not to be rude, but we also got our other co-host. How you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Things have been a lot better than they were the last couple of weeks. It's been raining here for about 3 days. It's stopped now, but it's still cloudy, but at least it's not raining anymore. I've actually been feeling okay besides being a little tired. That's the normal for me. But things are starting to calm down, so that's good.
Good. I do have to say we are jealous, though, that you're getting rain because it's snow nonstop this season, so... But that's good. And, if it stopped raining there, we'll be happy to just take the rain if it gets rid of this damn snow. So,
yeah, it was storming this morning. It was thundering. And I was like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we were supposed to get snow this morning, but it didn't happen. Luckily, it's just been rain, so thank the Lord for that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's only supposed to rain this week, so we're going to be fair.
Well, I'll be sure to send you some photos next weekend.
You suck. You suck. If William's going to be in California next week, so we'll be down another co-host. And if you're not, we are missing a co-host. And fortunately for poor Carlos, he is suffering from COVID. He contracted it, I guess, in the last few days here. And Carlos, we're wishing you a speedy recovery, brother. This week we were going to try to get his experience from being at the AEW events these last couple of weeks, but we'll probably take some time on episode 52 to get most of his experience from that. Again, Carlos, get well, get feeling better, and we'll see you hopefully by next Sunday here. So, without any further ado, why don't we get kind of to it? How'd you feel about this week's programming overall?
As far as just AEW?
Yeah, well, no, all of them overall.
I actually thought it was a pretty solid week.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The pay-per-view events, the regular shows don't seem to do quite as well because, everybody's lost the steam. But I have to say, AEW did a pretty good job keeping their weekly programming pretty week.
Yeah, and WWE has gone as far as stepping it up as far as starting to promote the WrestleMania thing and really get into the season.
Yeah, I felt SmackDown was much better than these last 2 weeks they've been airing. The telling for WrestleMania is starting to kind of kick in gear, except for one that I felt they should be focusing a little more on. And we'll kind of touch base when we get to that point. But Heather, what this last week's programming?
I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed Raw. I thought it was a really good show. Especially with John Cena and everything. And I really enjoyed the whole week. AEW did really good. That pay-per-view, like, oh my God. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good week.
Awesome. Yeah, it was definitely a banger this week. I will give it that for sure. So, why don't we just go ahead and cut to the chase? We'll go ahead and start with the Revolution results. In the 0 hour, there was one match we thought was going to take place, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. That was supposed to be Blackpool Combat Club against Dark Order, and that ended up happening on Dynamite rather than on the 0 hour. So we'll mention that when we get to the Dynamite results. But for Revolution in the 0 hour, Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers, sorry folks, defeating the team of Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes. Then going into the main card, Ricky Starks defeating Chris Jericho. In the final burial, Boy Jack Perry defeating Christian Cage. In the Trios Championship, the House of Black becomes the new champions, defeating the Elite. AEW Women's Championship, Jamie Hayter retains against Ruby Soho and... In the Texas Death Match, Hangman Adam Page makes Jon Moxley tap out. Very rare on that one. In the AEW TNT Championship, Wardlow defeating Samoa Joe via chokehold. AEW World Tag Team Championship. I can't believe I'm reading this. The Guns defeating Orange Cassidy Danhausen, the team of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and the Acclaimed. The 60-minute Iron Man match, which was one hell of a banger. Got 5 3/4 stars from Dave Meltzer, believe it or not. It was for the AEW World Championship. MJF defeating Bryan Danielson in a sudden Iron Man match. William, why don't we go ahead and start with your thoughts on that pay-per-view?
This pay-per-view was absolutely excellent. I loved pretty much everything except for the whole tag team title match. Boo. I'm sorry, but boo. Briscoe versus the Lucha Brothers, or Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers versus the Varsity Athletes, I thought was absolutely awesome. I wouldn't have expected anything less from them, but I think my high point for this was Sterling getting spiked.
Well, of course, someone's going to have to do something to that.
As far as the Jericho versus Ricky Starks, I thought they did an amazing job. Once again, big shout out to Jericho for doing what he does to help put talent over. Cage versus Jungle Boy. I really, really loved this match all the way through up until the end. I thought the end was a little bit just kind of blah, anticlimactic, but it still served its purpose. Versus House of Black, I actually literally wrote holy shit to this match because it was just craziness everywhere, left and right. House of Black, for being who they are, coming back after not really... they killed it. Jamie Hayter versus Saraya versus Soho, I thought was a great match. I thought it had an appropriate amount of time to it, good content. There was lots of interference, which pretty much expecting that. Glad that Hayter came out with the win. I think she still needs to continue going on for a little while. Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. It was definitely an excellent, brutal match. I too was surprised that it ended with a Moxley tap out. but I think it was an appropriate match. I think it went the way it was supposed to. Wardlow versus Samoa Joe. I thought it was an. I don't think it's the best that we've seen of Wardlow. I did love the tap out victory using Joe's own move. The tag team, I'm not even going to bother talking about. I wrote boo. And then Brian versus MJF. I think there was excellent execution on both of these guys. MJF really, really bringing out the heel as he always does. It was a crazy match.
All right. You want to give us your take?
Like I said, I just thought the whole pay-per-view was just excellent. Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers, they really did a good job. I'm just loving that being on AEW. Like, it should have been a whole lot sooner. And I'm glad Ricky Starks got the win over Chris Jericho. He needed it when he didn't really need it, but I mean, like, I'm glad he got it because, you know. But,
wow. Tell us how you really feel. Jeez.
But no, yeah, it was a good match. That one was a good match. And then the whole Jungle Boy and Christian Cage, please let this actually be the final. No, I don't want like something to turn around and pop up and then, oh no, seriously, we're not done. Okay, he buried him. Final burial, be done. It was a great match. Jungle Boy really put it out there. He showed you what he could do, which we've seen it before. But okay, at the end, why did he have to do the concerto or whatever the heck you want to call it? Okay, he's just showing, excuse me, he's showing that he can be an ass like Christian Cage. I mean, basically, is that what they were? And then the World Trios Championship. I said that the Elite were going to win again because I just didn't think they were going to take the belts off of them this soon. But House of Black, they're dominant, really, and show out, just what they can do, and I'm ready to see it. And of course, I knew Jamie Hayter was going to keep her belt because she's that bitch. Yes, say Jay Cargill is. Jamie Hayter's my. It's like that, but you know what I'm saying.
We're going to tell Jamie Hayter you said that now.
But no, I'm telling you, she's dominant. She's out there. She's doing an excellent job. Britt Baker by her side, they're just excellent. And the Texas Death Match, who I wanted to win. To actually have him tap out, seriously, I said, oh my God, no way. Moxley tapped out. But Hangman on Moxley, so he tapped out. So there you go. And then Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Okay, Wardlow got the belt, but then we all know what happened later on in the programming. And the Ass Boys, come on now, take them damn belts off of them. They don't need to have the belts, and I'm glad the FTR is back, and hopefully they can get the belts. And then the Iron Man match, that was just awesome. I hate MJF, but I predicted, that he was going to keep the belt. But it was a match, just the pinfalls back and forth. Then MJF got his qualification pinfall, and then they just kept on, keeping the pinfalls. And then, of course, MJF had to hit him with the oxygen tank. But that's MJF. Retains, and there you go. That's the devil, and he lived up to the devil. That's what I think.
He most certainly did.
What did you think about that, though, John? I mean, they pulled out that oxygen mask for usage and then continued the match and didn't bring it back out after.
I don't know. I thought it was good placement. I mean, of course, there's going to be an object somewhere thrown in there because you saw Bryce Remsburg ring away from him.
Yeah.
And it was just good placement for a heel to use an object to get the win.
I think maybe the better object to use probably would have been a fire extinguisher.
And I'm going to go out of place on this. I thought it was kind of funny when Tony Schiavone came down and announced that it was going to go to sudden death, and immediately MJF pulls the Undertaker all the dead, and it's like, what the fuck? You saw that look, and this is the only thing that bothered me about that sudden death. You had MJF shove the Bryce Remsburg. An immediate disqualification gave Bryan Danielson the championship right there. However, I don't know. He was about to use the chair, and Bryce Remsburg even warned him then that, hey, go be my guest. Hit him. It's the championship.
It was certainly different on the referee standpoint.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, MJF got away with too much there. And, I mean, it obviously was going to show who was going to win the match from there. You had two spots where you could have disqualified the competitor. You know the outcome's going to be going the direction that you don't want it to as a fan favorite of Daniel Bryanson. Or, Jesus. Yeah, piss off for those of you going in my DMs now. Anyways, I'll start off. I thought the 6-man tag at 0 Hour was a good start off and ready to go. However, I kind of felt 0 Hour needed one more match. If you're going to have a 1 hour kickoff before the actual main pay-per-view, keep the fans engaged. I mean, they definitely needed a little more than just Renee RJ City, which I didn't really like RJ City that much. My wife did, but I sure as hell didn't really care for him. As far as the brothers, it was a good match. I thought lots of great things came out of it on the talent. However, I wish they would do something with Daivari and the varsity athletes at some point, because these are guys that you really should be using without any. Going in the main card, I thought Ricky Starks, Chris Jericho, predictable match, called it. Ricky Starks got the win. Actually, no, I take that back. I did not get that right. So.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. Actually,
no,
I predicted was going to tie it up 1-1.
That's why we threw those GIFs at you.
Oh, yeah, I know. I figured I'd just get you going. The final burial match, I think. Final burial match until the pay-per-view. I wasn't paying attention much to last week's programming, obviously. But I think it was pretty evident we all predicted Jungle Boy Jack Perry getting the win over Christian Cage. Now he can move on and hopefully go chase. I think it'll be interesting because I more than likely think we're going to have him probably go after the TNT Championship. What do you think?
I'm with you on that one. That would be the appropriate belt. I don't think the All Atlantic is really in sight for Ricky Starks.
Oh, I was talking about Jungle Boy.
Oh, Jungle Boy?
Yeah, Jungle Boy's
actually,
mission.
as far as Jungle Boy goes, that he might have the All Atlantic.
Well, it'll be now as of Wednesday the AEW International Championship no longer be called All Atlantic. Yeah, it was an announcement that was later brought up in talk about that when it comes time. But yeah, those two titles could fit Jungle Boy either way. I just don't think he's quite there for the World Championship yet.
No.
As far as the Trios Championship, I definitely did call getting the victory over the Elite. I know we did our fan polls last week where it was like overwhelmingly in favor of the Elite, and I just saw the set. House of Black made it aware they were going to challenge him for the championships, and I thought it was the right move by Creative to put those titles on a stable that's coming in pretty strong after a big loss to Dark. What the hell does he go by? Miro. I don't think that really killed their momentum as a faction. It just made them stronger, and we're seeing the result of that. The championship just kind of seemed a little weird. I thought all three women did really good as far as, having the right match length and all that. it just felt weird when Ruby Soho aligned herself with Saraya and Tony, because the way it was almost set up, like she was pinned by Jamie Hayter, which, okay, I can understand the hatred there, but to see her attack Saraya and Tony Storm, to Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, but then you see the double turn, she ends up taking down Britt Baker and not Tony, but Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and it was just time it happened. I can understand why it happened. Just I don't think it was choreographed very well. The Texas Death Match, Hangman Adam Page, you okay over there?
Great.
My brother's just not place, but no, I thought the Texas Death Match went the way it was going to go. I thought Hangman Adam Page would eventually tie it up with Mox. It's now 2-2. Hangman eventually made it clear that he was making it clear that it was over, but I think it's far from over. I think we're going to see the pursuance of Blackpool Combat Club against Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page. Quit laughing at me.
Dark Odor.
God. I hope they're not on the Chris Jericho cruise here, because they're going to be like, what the hell did you call us? Anyways, the AEW TNT Championship, like I said, that one could have went either way. As we find out in the programming later in the week, it didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go. I can't remember. I'm going to have to go back to the last week. But I had a feeling if whoever won, I think I had Samoa Joe either retaining against... No, I think I had Will Hobbs defeating Samoa Joe if he retained, and if he ended up winning, and it turned out different. So it was definitely interesting. I thought it was awesome to watch Wardlow choke Joe out to his own hold. And we see a time TNT champion out of Wardlow. And for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, I'm right there with everyone. There's a little frown that the Guns were going to retain, but I also called it. The only way they would retain is defeating Danhausen and Orange Cassidy in some way to kind of keep their... I guess you can say they're, I don't know what the right word is. keep their heelish, chicken shit heelish, and not really kind of be bothered by it. You're just shaking your head like...
Yeah, I think what you're looking for is credence or credibility in the character.
Yes, that's... Sorry. Of the chicken shit heel, and I think that's what they accomplished with getting that win on the particular individuals there. As far as we've already kind of got my thoughts on the 60-minute Iron Man, I thought it was the right call to have him championship. I just thought it was a little weird with a couple of different aspects in that match, which didn't make sense. However, I do feel it was the right call. How about you?
Yeah, I wanted it to go a different way, but I believe they made the right call. I mean, MJF has got, another couple of years left?
Well, I can't remember. Does his contract end?
I think it's in a year and a half.
Is it at the end of 2024 or the beginning of 2024?
I think it's at the end.
Okay. I have to go back and do some research on that, but I know somewhere in 2024 his contract is done. However, I don't think it'd be... I don't think he should go anywhere else. I think he should stick it out with AEW for one big reason, and that's because he's very young and can be the face of a company that not just still in its youth, but he can take that company to levels that's above the sky, I guess you can say. The sky is the limit for him, is what I thought.
Yeah, no, he's an incredible talent. He's just absolutely gold on the mic. I think he's got a bright future no matter where he goes, but I do believe that, like you said, AEW, he should probably make that his home.
Most definitely. I think if he keeps his loyalty to AEW, I think it will keep AEW not only as a legitimate company, but it's going to give a lot of these other promotions a run for their. Heather, do you have any other thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, well, I thought it was a good call, by Tony Khan that when the match ended in a draw, that he went ahead and had it go forward because, it pissed everybody off, because no, because having a couple of matches that were like 60-minute matches, hadn't he let them end in draws? Like on regular programming?
Well, he's only had a couple. That was how fun with Bryan Danielson both times with, wasn't it Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page? I don't think they were necessarily 60-minute matches. I think the one was, but I don't think the other.
I mean, it's just long matches and like ended in draws and like people got pissed off.
Right.
That's all I remember. And
right.
I thought it was a good call by him, to go ahead and let it go on, to sudden death, because I think that would have really been dumb to let it end like that because of what a high stake kind of match. Because everybody had been holding out for that match, and is how Bryan Danielson had to win each week his match to be able to get MJF to go into this match, and like to end it like that would have been really dumb. So I'm just glad that he made that call to go into sudden death.
Right, and I do have a couple of other things. I loved how giddy Tony Schiavone was when Tony Khan gave him that announcement to go make because of his hatred for MJF. But like you mentioned, where this was a pay-per-view event, I don't think that would have been a wise move to end that in a draw.
No.
Unless you're going to promote MJF and Bryan Danielson too at the next pay-per-view, which I don't think would be a wise move. Especially based out the AEW pay-per-views are. You would be having that feud go way longer than what it should. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we're going to get right into the AEW programming. And we're back for AEW Dynamite results. The opening match for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy retains against Jay Lethal. Ruby Soho defeating Sky Blue. Tag team match. A 6-man tag team match. I misread my notes. The Jericho Appreciation Society defeating the team of AR Fox and Top Flight. Blackpool Combat Club defeating Dark Order. TNT Championship match, which was the main event, where it was a Falls Count Anywhere. Powerhouse Will Hobbs gets the victory over Wardlow and becomes the new AEW TNT champion. For the Rampage, we have Sammy Guevara defeating Action Andretti. The Acclaim defeating Jack Cartwheel and Starboy Charlie. Did I read those names right?
Yeah, you did.
Jesus. Konosuke Takeshita defeating Preston Vance, and Riho defeating Nyla Rose in the main event. And why don't we go ahead and start off with Heather on this one?
Okay. Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. I thought it was a good match. But I don't like Jay Lethal, but y'all know I don't like heels anyway. But I've been enjoying the Orange Cassidy, defending his title, which they're going to change the name of it. You said to the AEW International Championship. Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah. So Tony Khan later in the program made yet another surprise announcement. And I say that in air quotes because it always seems like there's some surprise announcement. AEW CEO Tony Khan has decided to change the name of the championship from the All-Atlantic Championship And as of next week, it will officially now be recognized as the AEW International Championship.
Okay. Well, I've been enjoying him defending that title. But now it's going to be another title.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I thought the All Atlantic Championship was a fine name, unless you two disagree, but that's one I would have left alone, honestly. I mean, if you're going to follow suit, you might as well just try to rip off WWE and call it the Intercontinental Championship. But I thought All Atlantic was one of the more unique names for a title. However, I don't know. I'm not the owner of the company. I just move on. But anyways, go ahead, Heather. Continue on.
And then Ruby Soho and Sky Blue. I don't like. Here we go with the heel thing again. I don't like the fact that Ruby Soho has turned heel. I like her better when she's face. And then like her beating Sky Blue, and then the whole thing with Saraya and Toni Storm coming out there, and then Willow came out there, and then she attacked Willow because I didn't like that because they were a team and they were really good together, and now she's turned on Willow because she's an outcast now or whatever. But and then Top Flight and AR Fox versus Jericho, Sammy, and Daniel Garcia, or JAS, excuse me. I like the match, but of course, JAS had to cheat and to win, and like they always do. Our systematic cheating is which one is the commentator that says that? They're always saying systematic cheating.
Isn't that Taz?
Yeah, I think it's Taz that says it. But every time it comes to JAS, that's what he's saying, systematic cheating. But that's par for the course with them. And then I liked, when the JAS was talking about the trios titles, then House of Black came out there, because the Elite came out. And then, of course, we've got the Elite versus House of Black versus JAS for the trios titles next week, which is going to be a very interesting match. Let's see. And then, and then it was the Black. What? I'm lost.
Yeah, you're on Blackpool Combat Club.
Okay, Blackpool Combat Club versus Dark Order. That's when. Okay, I got asked. Okay, now that they turned heel, somebody asked me, do I still like Jon Moxley now that he's turned heel? And I had to say that I'm always going to like Moxley, whether he's heel or not. And that's my exception to the rule right there, because he's Jon Moxley. So that's all,
That's a true fan right there.
Yeah, he's the exception to the rule. So, the Wardlow Powerhouse Hobbs match, the fucking ending. Like, are you serious? No, I don't like that, but it was inevitable, that Powerhouse Hobbs was going to get the belt. But why did you have to end it like that? With QT Marshall and everything, I didn't like that. Like, the match was good, it's Falls Count Anywhere, they're fighting in the back with the car and everything, then, Wardlow, someone had broken into his car and stolen all his gear and everything. But then, the match was crazy, throwing each other everywhere. And then QT Marshall comes out low blow, hit with the chair, and boom, Powerhouse wins the title. Okay, why did it have to go that way? I think it would have been better if he had just outright won the title. And then why even let Wardlow win if he was just going to turn around and just lose it? Like, Samoa Joe should have just kept the title and then lost to Powerhouse Hobbs. That's my opinion on that. And then on Rampage, I cannot stand Sammy Guevara. But yeah, him beating Action Andretti. I really like Action Andretti. I think he's a really good wrestler and does pretty, real good there, in the ring. And what the hell, Starboy Charlie and Jack Cartwheel, is that what it is?
It was, Jack Cartwheel and Starboy Charlie. I'm just shaking my head still reading those names.
I mean, what even was the purpose of that match? But then Takeshita versus Preston Vance. I love Takeshita. He is just an awesome wrestler. And he was even questioning, whether he should go back to Japan and like try to get more work in or whatever. But I think he's doing an excellent job. And then Nyla Rose versus Rio. I love Rio for her stature and everything. I think she's just awesome. She really gets in there and puts on a fight, and she just does really good. So yeah. Oh, and then the Reach for the Sky ladder match that was announced, and Lucha Brothers being the first entrant. I think that's going to be really good right there for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. I think that's really going to be an awesome match. Because that was announced too. So I just thought I'd throw that in there.
All right. So for Dynamite, Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. I thought it was a great match. I thought both of them just gave a really, really sound performance. I didn't think it was anything super special. Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. It was an okay match. I want to give recognition to Sky Blue. She did a really good job selling this, but I'm kind of on the fence with the whole push with Ruby Soho, like everybody else right now. There was just a lot that really didn't make a lot of sense, and then one of the things I noticed is it really didn't help that you had the commentators just kind of fueling the fire for that being controversial. Jericho Appreciation Society versus AR Fox and Top Flight. Another good, solid match. Again, really nothing too special to it. Moxley and Claudio versus Dark Order. This was a killer match. I loved it from bell to bell. Good, solid match. I loved the fact that it was tap out. As far as Wardlow versus Hobbs, I actually saw this coming. Minus the QT angle. I really thought it was pointless to bring QT out for this, bringing up crap that was months ago. And I mean months ago. As far as Rampage goes, Guevara versus Andretti. I would have liked to have actually seen this become a better match without the interference from Garcia, because those two are very similar in their styles. The Acclaimed versus whatever and whatever. This one kind of offends me a little bit just because it seems like they're throwing the Acclaimed back to the back of the line, and that shouldn't be the case. Preston Vance versus Takeshita. It was a very short match, but it was a great match for what it was. They both did really good. Nyla Rose versus Riho. This was a great match. I loved the fact that it was a roll-up. It didn't necessarily make a lot of sense for her to do the roll-up, but I love the fact that they went that way. The Marina Shafir interference was kind of pointless. And again with Riho, I think they're really starting to build for... again, I'm just going to say it. I want to see her in Cargill. And maybe not so much it be... somebody comes out to interfere for Riho to get the win, but if we were going to push that angle, I would look at Red Velvet coming out.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing right there. Yeah, I think on the opening match with the AEW All Atlantic Championship, we had that rubber match between Orange Cassidy and Jay Lethal. I thought it was a weird setup. For one, because we've already seen these two wrestle twice. I guess to say they were already even 1-1. This kind of shows that Orange Cassidy is going to kind of have the leg up on Jay Lethal now. But it was an interesting setup to where now we had Orange Cassidy's knee taken out from Jay Lethal at the ring post. And then post-match, Jeff Jarrett comes in and takes out Orange Cassidy's knee even more with swinging the guitar right on it. A little interesting there. It is a good setup, though, if they plan to move that championship off Orange Cassidy and put it on the much seasoned veteran, I guess you can call it, on Double J, Jeff Jarrett there. So we'll see what happens. It'll be kind of weird to hear that called the AEW International Championship. So we'll see what. Yeah, you're shaking your head like I can't believe this shit.
Yeah, no, I'm just picturing it in my head. They throw that belt around Jeff Jarrett, and then we get that annoying side of him back.
Yeah, yeah. Do that little strut in the ring with the belt. Yeah, it's gonna be crappers. I want to talk about the Ricky Starks promo, saying now that he's pretty much defeated all the members of Jericho Appreciation Society and figuring out what's next for him. I thought for sure he'd be going for one of the single championships, but all of a sudden lights go out. We got Bullet Club's music going, and out comes Juice Robinson out of nowhere and lays Starks to waste. So I guess we know what's going to be going next for Ricky. I'm going to find this one interesting. One, because I don't think Juice Robinson has had enough exposure for fans to know who he really is. But also, it'll be a nice twist of things to get some fresh blood there in AEW. So I'm looking for great things to come out of Juice Robinson, as he's a spectacular talent. If you haven't followed his work with New Japan and Ring of Honor. The Ruby Soho deal... Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
We're going to call it a fumble and a botch.
Yeah, it was weird. Poor Sky Blue yet fallen victim to another competitor. I do agree with the fact having Ruby Soho align herself with Saraya and Toni Storm. I just hope this is going to get a little more interesting here shortly. I think after Rampage, we might possibly see some more people added to Team Tony and Saraya here. And I'll talk about that when we get to Rampage. FTR promo challenging the Guns for the AEW Tag Team Championships. I think this was long overdue, but great placement now if we're going to take those championships off the Guns. I think FTR is a good choice, although I would have definitely loved to see the Acclaim regained it back from the pay-per-view, which obviously explains why they went the four-way route, so that they were able to defeat a team that really had no business being in there, to be honest. Going to the Jericho Appreciation Society, defeating AR Fox and Top Flight. Again, another bummer loss for the younger team, but to see the post-match promo, Jericho Appreciation... I cannot say their damn name. The Jericho Appreciation Society. God, it's kicking my ass today. Making the challenge to House of Black for the Trios Championship is an interesting move here. Because out goes the lights, but everybody was expecting House of Black. It ended up being the Elite. And it looks like we may end up having a... How can you say this?
It's a three-way.
A three-way? Yeah, I would hope they're not going to go that route, because that's going to be hard to follow.
Yeah, that's going to be a messy match.
I mean, if you did a number one contender match between the Elite and Jericho Appreciation Society... God, I'm having a hard time saying their name today, but...
Just call them the JAS.
I'll call them jassholes like Ricky Starks did. But
they are having that match next week. It's supposed to be the JAS versus the Elite versus House of Black next week.
Oh, it is going to be the three-way style? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think they should have went the other route and went number one contender match. Again, to follow a three-way with 9 guys, this is going to be scary.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they do the match style, or a member of each team going to be in there, or is it going to be just one-on-one? This is not going to go well, I don't think. I'm sorry.
No.
This is the hardest thing about booking three, like a 6-man tag championship or whatever you want to call them anymore. Yeah, we're going to leave that alone right now as it is. And the Blackpool Combat Club defeating the Dark Order. I thought it was great to finally turn Blackpool Combat Club as heels, as they've been going heelish ways the last few weeks anyway. Sorry, Heather. But, I was waiting for her to say, God damn it, or something. She just...
No, I know, like, I've been seeing it coming, and just like I said, Moxley, I don't care, heel, whatever, I'm, that's still my man.
No, I thought it was finally the right time to turn him heel, and with Hangman Adam Page still kind of having some animosity with Evil Uno, it's nice to see that Hangman has Dark Order's back and is willing to kind of help support them against the new heels. However, I feel Blackpool Combat Club needs one more member. Obviously, Daniel Bryan's getting... God damn it. Bryan Danielson is going to be out for a little while, especially the way we saw his promo on Dynamite. I thought he did a really wonderful job selling that he's got to take some time away and regroup himself. So, Adam Page and Uno, like I said, I think with their animosity, it's going to be interesting to see if they can put their differences to the side, stay on the same page to kind of take on the Blackpool Combat Club. But like I said, I think Blackpool Combat Club needs one more person to join their group to make this a great 8-man tag match. The TNT Championship with the Falls Count Anywhere. Sorry, Heather, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I thought it was good that we got a championship on Will Hobbs, but I'm also agreeing with Will on this. I don't think QT Marshall's interference really was necessary. I think Will Hobbs is a big enough guy, he could have took Wardlow out himself. I mean, there was just no need for it. I kind of get the storyline wise, but yeah, I think Powerhouse Hobbs would have been just fine on his own.
Yeah, I think they waited a little too long to play that angle.
Yeah, they did. And the only thing that's a bummer is now Wardlow goes down in history being the only wrestler with the shortest TNT championship reign in the company history, 3-day reign. I'm with Heather on that. You might as well just kept it on Samoa Joe and had Powerhouse Hobbs defeat Joe on Dynamite. It just kind of kills it right there for Wardlow fans. Going into the Rampage, Sammy Guevara and Action Andretti having their second match against each other. I was a little disappointed with this outcome because I would have hoped they would have went the route have it a 1-1 deal now, but yeah, I don't. It's really got me messed up on this one. I thought it was a good match overall. I just didn't like the outcome. The Acclaimed defeating those two, whatever the hell you call them. Not going to waste my time. Takeshita and Preston Vance. I would have loved to have seen that match go a little longer. In fact, if you would have not even bothered having that tag match before them, I think that would have been the proper time allowed to have Takeshita and Vance show off their in-ring skills and tell a better story. Mark Briscoe, like Heather mentioned, announces what's in store, the future of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. It's now going to be up for grabs in a Reach for the Sky ladder match. And the first team being announced in there is the Lucha Brothers, which is pretty awesome tribute for the Briscoes. I really hope that they get some really killer tag teams in that match as well. Does anybody know how many teams were slated for that match?
No.
Heather?
No, I haven't heard either. I haven't heard.
I'm sure it's going to be more than 2 teams if it's a ladder match. But it's going to be interesting to see who they choose as the new tag team champions. I thought Riho and Nyla Rose was a great match. I loved the way it ended. The roll up on a much bigger opponent than you is always a good way to go because you know she's not going to be able to hit a real big finisher on her. I was impressed with the what the hell was it she hit on her? Was it Northern Lights soup? No. God,
I think it was just a German.
Yeah, it was a German suplex, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Northern Lights suplex, but that wasn't it. But to see her do that to Nyla Rose, holy shit. But, however, this was what I was going to mention too, was the post-match where we see Marina Shafir and Nyla Rose put a post-match attack on Riho as they were about to hit the gorilla. We hear the music of Tony Storm go off, and out comes Soho, Storm, and Saraya. I almost thought for a minute there we were going to see Shafir align with, I guess you can say, the post WWE girls. I was waiting for that moment, but it was like, nope, you guys go ahead and attack her. However, with that mutual, well, I guess you can't say mutual, but kind of in a way of a sign of respect to let them go. I don't know. I could possibly see Marina Shafir aligning herself with those post WWE girls. What do you think?
I think it would be really good exposure for Marina Shafir, and it would make sense.
Yeah, it was definitely a eye opener to watch that, because you didn't see them attack anyone. Well, you didn't see them attack Shafir or Rose whatsoever. But if Marina Shafir does align herself with Storm, Saraya, and Soho, where do we see Nyla Rose go?
I don't know, but the thing is there really hasn't been that much traction or oomph behind that duo.
No,
neither one of their careers have benefited from it. It's just been they show up every once in a while.
Well, Nyla Rose being an AEW original,
yeah,
I think that would be the perfect point to split those two up.
You would expect more for her.
Definitely. Because you don't really have Nyla Rose doing anything championship contender-wise. You might as well get her in some kind of an interesting story, and I think the best thing to do is split her away from Shafir now. Did you have any thoughts on that, Heather?
Yeah, I mean, like William said, I don't see it benefiting either one of them for them to be together. And they don't hardly ever come out to wrestle or anything. And why are they even together? I don't see the point of them even being together. And if she does join Tony and Saraya and Ruby, if Marina does, that would be a good thing for her. And then let Nyla go on and find a different storyline, or her team up with the other ones, because she is AEW original, and just get her in a storyline, maybe them going against each other or something like that, and see what happens from there.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about yet another hot topic for AEW for the week. It was announced that there's talks of a third show possibly happening for AEW. I am a little concerned on this because, one, I don't think Rampage has been doing so well. I really would like it if they found a way to get Rampage to be a 2-hour show rather than carry on to go for a third. Your thoughts, Will?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I would rather expand, because this is just going to draw way too much, given how many different programs we have going on. It's going to draw attention away from everything.
I agree with that. I really think AEW needs to focus on finding a way to get the Ring of Honor program on TV. I mean, I get it, they went the online deal or the streaming deal, but I think this is a perfect opportunity to sit back, look, and say, look, we got two companies now. We need to get more exposure. Yeah, internet is a big deal, but I don't think right now they're thinking very strategically on how to keep both companies going. We talked about this in previous episodes where we would like to see, Ring of Honor provide better content for the $9.99 deal, like include their pay-per-views. However, I just don't know. I'm not quite sure if this is a smart move on AEW's part. Heather, did you want to give your insight on that at all?
I don't understand why they would do a third show instead of just give another hour to Rampage. I mean, that does not make any sense to me. Why I don't understand why a third show when you're Rampage is, like you said, is not really even doing that good. Why not add an extra hour to Rampage and try to hype it up a little bit more, give more matches and maybe a little bit longer matches on some instead of what was that match, the Starboy Charlie and all that. Don't put matches like that on. I mean, for real, don't put matches like that on there. Have better matches and maybe try to hype it up more, give it another hour and see where that goes. Don't be trying to add a third show. That does not make any sense at all.
Yeah, well, my other thought is get Rampage off Friday, get it away from the day where everybody tunes into SmackDown. And if you want to have a Saturday show, make Rampage a 2-hour Saturday show. I think that would be the better move if they're going to go that route. I just don't see the need for the third yet.
No, a Saturday show sounds like that would be a good idea right there, because it is you have SmackDown and then you're watching SmackDown, then you go and there's Rampage. A lot of people don't want to stay up and really some people do, of course, but you have a lot of people that are well, that's too late. I don't want to stay up and watch that, of which a lot of people do record it. But, and then if you do add another hour, that's even more, that longer. But yeah, Saturday does sound like a good idea to put it on Saturday, because I'm sure a lot of people would watch it.
Alrighty, let's get right into the WWE here for Monday Night Raw. Starting it off, Kevin Owens gets the victory over Solo Sikoa via disqualification. Bianca Belair defeats Carmella. Omos making short work of Dolph Ziggler, if you call it that. Johnny Gargano defeating Finn Balor. Piper Niven getting her revenge on Nikki Cross. Chad Gable defeating Baron Corbin. And in the main event, Sami Zayn defeating Jimmy Uso. For the SmackDown results, in the Intercontinental Championship number 1 match, this one kind of reads off weird. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre defeat LA Knight, Karrion Kross, and Xavier Woods. Judgment Day defeating Legado del Fantasma. The Viking Raiders defeating Braun Strowman. And Charlotte Flair defeating Shotzi. And we're going to go ahead and cover the NXT Roadblock results in the Jailhouse Street Fight. Tony D'Angelo defeats Dijak. Braun Breaker and the Creed brothers defeating Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher. Gigi Dolan defeats JC Jane. Joe Gacy defeating Andre Chase. And in the main event for the NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez retains against Meiko Satomura. And why don't we go ahead and start with you, Heather. Let's get your thoughts on WWE this week.
Well, I thought, it was pretty good. Raw was the best show for me. It was mainly because of John Cena and the way he just roasted Austin Theory. I thought that was really good. But KO versus Solo, of course, Jimmy getting involved and forces disqualification. And then Sammy came out there, to help KO. But, of course, KO still doesn't want his help because he's not forgiving Sammy. Then, Bianca versus Carmella. Bianca wins, but then here comes Chelsea to come out there and they attack Bianca, and then Asuka comes out there to help Bianca, which they're supposed to be wrestling each other. And then I'm just like the whole thing. Trying not to get off on a tangent. I'm sorry, but Sammy and KO, they're working to that, for them, because I know they're going to be. I'm hoping this is what they're working to, is them taking the belts off the Usos. I'm hoping that's what that's for. But yeah, and Dolph Ziggler and almost that did not even have to happen. That was just ridiculous match right there. And then Finn Balor, getting the assist by Edge really to, I mean, not Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano getting the assist by Edge to beat Finn Balor. Let's see. Then Chad Gable, fighting Baron Corbin. That was an okay match. I'm liking that. I think I've heard that they were getting ready to give Chad Gable a really big push as a singles, get him away from Otis. Because I think he's like be better off as a singles competitor again, because he was doing really good before. Let's see. That's it for Raw, because I think I'm lost again. I'm sorry.
Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking at. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that was the part that I'm pissed off about right there. But yeah, Sammy beat Jay, beat Jimmy, and then of course Jay came out there and pretended to act like he was going to take Sammy's side, and then ended up kicking him, and then they beat him and all that. But which he said it's a family thing, so he's been like, I'm feeling like Jay had to pick Jimmy because he's protecting him from Roman, because Jay knows how it felt when Roman was doing everything that he was doing to get him to come in to be with him. So Jay really did it to protect Jimmy. But of course, it's a family thing, blah blah blah. But yeah, and SmackDown, the whole thing with Sheamus and Drew double pinning. Have they even said how they're going to do that one with the for the Intercontinental Championship? Did they even say how they were going to work that out?
Yeah, next week it's supposed to be Sheamus and Drew McIntyre 1-on-1, and the winner is supposedly going to be the number one contender for the Gunther's Intercontinental Championship.
Okay, I must have missed that part. And then Rey Mysterio being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and of course his brat-ass son comes out there and has to run it. I'm just be glad when Rey just beats the hell out of Dom. Yeah, and I like that. I'm still liking that Santos Escobar keeps trying to stand up for Rey and trying to teach Dom some respect. And the match, it could have been a good match, but of course, Judgment Day is going to win. Ricochet and Braun Strowman versus the Viking Raiders. I don't like the whole Viking Raiders and Valhalla thing. I don't know. I just don't like it. And Charlotte versus Shotzi. It was a okay match. I know it was just because Charlotte said she wanted a match. So they did it. And Shotzi tapped out, of course. And then NXT, the match, Tony D'Angelo and Dijak, I thought that was a really, really good match. And he, Tony D'Angelo getting Dijak in there and slamming the jailhouse door on him. That was good. The Creed brothers with Braun versus Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher. I didn't really pay attention to that match. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
And I like, how Braun Breaker called Carmelo Hayes out. It's like, now, it's us two, so we finally need to face each other. I'm glad, that's going to be an interesting match to finally see them together. And the Mako Satomura match versus Roxanne Perez, that was an excellent match. I really enjoyed that match. and like Makeup's coming to show respect to give her Roxanne the belt back and everything. And then, but what happened at the end with Roxanne collapsing and everything, because she like she said she was going to give it her all, she's going to leave everything in the ring, and she did, and she ended up collapsing, and that but yeah, that was an excellent match right there.
All right, I guess it's my turn. I just got pointed at. Okay. As far as Raw goes, KO defeating Solo via DQ. It was a really good match. I guess we could have seen it coming that Solo's first, defeat wasn't really a defeat. Bianca Belair versus Carmella. I thought that was a really, really well done match. I love the fact that Chelsea Green came out to cause some interference. The Omos versus Zig. Apparently, at some point, Dolph has become a jobber. I don't agree with that. There was no point to that. Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. First of all, yay Edge for coming out. It was actually a really good match. I think Gargano did well with Finn. Nikki Cross versus Piper Niven. That was pretty quick. I'm not sure I was... what's the word for it? I wasn't too impressed with it just because Piper Niven can go the length, and so can Nikki, so it could have been more.
Yeah, it definitely should have had a lot more time on that match than what it did.
Yeah. Gable versus Corbin. I'm super happy for the Gable push. Too bad for Corbin. It was an okay match. It wasn't great. It's not one of the better ones that I've seen from Gable. Sammy versus Jimmy. It was a really good match, and I'm just going to go out there and say it. Terrible night, really, for the Bloodline. SmackDown. Drew and Sheamus winning the 5-way Intercontinental Championship contender match. I didn't really see a point to this other than just filling in part of the card for the next week. I'm interested to see them go to war, of course, because those two always put on a great match. But I think it could have just been a one-person victory. Legado del Fantasma versus Judgment Day. It was an okay match. I kind of think the ending was crap, but I understand where they're going with it. They're getting the setup complete for Rey Mysterio versus Dom. I think everybody's pretty much just ready to watch that one fly. The Monsters versus the Viking Raiders, I thought was an awesome match. I thought it was well done. Both teams really performed well. I thought it was a great finish, and I love the fact that this is probably going to be the next push for a tag team championship for the Vikings, which is way, way overdue. Charlotte Flair versus Shotzi. I did not enjoy the match. I thought it was nothing more than a squash match. I know there was some controversy as far as fans booing Charlotte for a botch.
What botch was that? Because
I'm not even sure, because I thought it was a solid performance for what it was, but it was a squish match.
Yeah, because, I watched it, unless they must have made some edit. Of course, here in Utah, we're an hour behind on when it goes live. So, yeah, I just was blind to it. I don't know.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see the botch either. I just kept reading about the botch, but I didn't really see it.
Yeah. NXT. So the Tony versus Dijak, I thought was an excellent match. Really more so because I've been kind of skeptical about Dijak, but in this particular performance, he sold it for me. Creeds and Braun versus Indashir. Another great match for both teams. Even Braun put in a pretty good tag team dynamic. I thought it was an appropriate ending. Gigi Dolan versus JC Jane. That was a good match. I loved it. Especially Gigi's killer finisher. That really kind of impressed me. Gacy versus Andre Chase. I'm sorry. I thought that was a lame ass match. it didn't do anything for me. Miko Satomura versus Roxanne Perez. It was an excellent match. I wasn't that thrilled with the ending of it, having her collapse. I don't know that was necessary.
Well, it was definitely reliving when Shawn Michaels was trying to have his little concussion when he had his match with Owen Hart way back when.
Yeah, which I just, as much as they're trying to push Roxy to be that strong champion, I just don't think this was the right call.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, in a way, it was trying to show that, Mako was going to push her to the very limit, and she did.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think she sold it well, but I just don't like that. I don't like that sell.
No.
She sold it well, don't get me wrong. I just don't like the way that ended. Going into my thoughts on Raw, Kevin Owens getting the win over Solo Sikoa via DQ. Of course, the right way for Solo to lose because he still remains unpinned and hasn't submitted or tapped out. So, in a way, his legitimacy of being a strong competitor and enforcer, it's still making him look really well. Bianca, Carmella, didn't think much of it. I love the segment with Logan Paul and Seth freaking Rollins on Miz TV to continue their feud and push their match on WrestleMania. I love the exchanges the week before when Rollins ended it with, bye-bye, bitch. And then Logan Paul returns it this week. Almost Dolph Ziggler, that one just drove me nuts because the whole reason they had that match was Mustafa Ali was the one that set that matchup for Dolph. I think we just need a return in favor for Dolph to book him against Omos or something. Him being Mustafa Ali.
Boo.
Yeah. Hey, return the favor, man. Jesus, Ali wants to team with Ziggler so bad. Here, you defeat Omos, I'll tag with you. If not, leave me the fuck alone. I thought Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor did an awesome job. Especially, even though you still had Edge come in and do the distraction and give a little bit of an aid to Johnny Gargano. It didn't really hurt Gargano's win that much, but I don't know. It seems like interference. Nothing's really all that clean anymore. I would love to just see a solid, clean match for once. I love the segment with Rick Boogs and Elias, with Elias trying to get Boogs to go challenge Bronson Reed, and Boogs messes it up by saying, hey, Bronson, Elias wants to fight you. So that's are you shaking your head on that? You have to admit that was funny. No?
No.
I thought so. I loved the segment between John Cena and Austin Theory where Cena's telling Theory, hey, you haven't earned the right yet to, challenge anyone to WrestleMania and all that. And in some ways, it's kind of very legitimate. Austin Theory hasn't earned that right yet. But I think if he gets that win against John Cena, I think he very much will have that right now. I think that's the direction they're pushing, is Theory to be the next face of the company. And as long as he can keep healthy and injury-free, I think he'll go quite a few more years there in the company. What do you think?
Yeah, you probably don't want to hear my opinion on this one.
I know what Heather thinks, so I'm just going to be careful here.
I'm pretty much aligned with Heather on this one. I'm okay with Theory not even being involved.
Well, fine then, fine.
Theory needs to go away.
Apparently, I missed Piper Niven squashing Nikki Cross, and yeah, I agree with you. That match went a hell of a lot longer. I do agree with Piper going over Nikki. It
could have been so much more.
Yeah, they could have scrapped the Omos and Ziggler match and gave that time to, give the extra 2.5 minutes to Piper and Nikki. Chad Gable defeating Baron Corbin. It was weird way to kind of how that match got involved. I mean, you thought Corbin thought he was being talked highly from Maxine Dupree. It's so hard to follow that storyline after the changes they've done with that. But yeah, it was a good set. Not a somewhat good setup, but I think everybody's getting the drift. We're going to see Otis and Chad Gable eventually break up. It'll definitely be interesting to see if Otis can make this as comical as he did with the Mandy Rose segment. You're shaking your head again like, no.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that?
No, I'd rather see Otis just far more serious.
I don't think we're going to get that much. I hate to say it. I love the segment where we got the setup of Lita, Becky Lynch, and Trish Stratus challenging Damage Control to a 6-woman tag match at WrestleMania. I think that will be a killer, but I think the rumor is now that
they're double booked.
Double booked?
Yep.
What do you mean?
So there was originally supposed to be Lita and Becky were supposed to be taking on Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. There's talks of that still going on.
Oh, I didn't know that. And see, what I'm hearing is Trish Stratus is probably going to be going heel here. She's going to eventually turn on Becky at WrestleMania. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play that one out. But yeah, I didn't know there were still talks of Baszler and Rousey going to face Lynch and Lita. That'll definitely be interesting if they pull that off.
I think it's realistically just them trying to keep it open to Baszler and Rousey going after what they said they were going to go after, which is the Women's Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, I think that would be a good fit for that duo, especially right now. With Sami Zayn defeating Jimmy Uso and then the post-match theatrics. I thought Jey Uso and Sami Zayn did a great job telling the story there. You know, Jey Uso feeling very conflicted still with Sami Zayn coming into the bloodline and using them. And, you know, Sami Zayn telling the story, trying to tell the story, hey, Roman's been using you guys. Get your heads together. Think about it. And however, the Usos are staying loyal to the tribal chief in the bloodline. So with Cody getting involved, though, I think that's where we're going to start seeing some problems, because I don't think they should have Cody focus on anything else but Roman Reigns. And now they're taking that attention away. It could set up Cody for some vulnerability at his main event match there at WrestleMania. With the SmackDown, we see the Usos arrive and Paul Heyman's trying to kiss up to Jay. And again, you see Jay give that stare down, still looking conflicted. And giving Paul Heyman the message, hey, I'm right here. You tell the tribal chief if he's looking for me. He knows where to find me now. The Intercontinental #1 contenders match just... I'm with the fans when both Sheamus and Drew McIntyre won that match. Just make it a goddamn triple threat match. Don't waste your time making a #1 contender match, because Gunther wants a challenger, not challengers. But I actually did have to give Gunther a kudos on that segment, talking to Adam Pearce about that. So, Rey Mysterio being inducted in the 2023 Class Hall of Fame. Great move for WWE. I think we all saw that coming. I still feel we're going to get the retirement match from Rey and Dom at this year's WrestleMania, with Dom getting the victory and retiring his father. However, the news is, and I don't know if anybody else has heard it, it sounds like Rey Mysterio has chosen Conan to induct him in the Hall of Fame, which that would be very awesome. I believe WWE actually did go with Ray's request, and if that's the case, then I'm looking forward to seeing K-Dog on the Hall of Fame stage there to induct his longtime friend.
Carlos is going to be in the background. Woo!
Well, Heather, did you hear that rumor by chance?
Yes, I did. Somebody tweeted it, and then Conan retweeted it. So yeah, it's true.
Okay, so I'm sure that got Heather going too. So, but yeah. I can't wait to hear Carlos's reaction to that. The Judgment Day defeating Legado del Fantasma. I love the fact, like Heather mentioned earlier, I love it that Legado is still showing a high respect for Rey Mysterio's legacy. I just wish somebody would just smack the shit out of Dom, like Heather would say. Think Heather's starting to rub off on me, actually. So, but yeah, someone just beat Dom's ass, will you? Finally, just do it.
Omos versus Dom.
Yeah, well, we know you'll do it. That's what we're worried about. We still want the kid to survive, for hell's sakes. In fact, why don't you just have NWO Machine go kick his ass?
Okay, yeah, he can do it. I'll be cheering in the background. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Viking Raiders defeating Braun Strowman and Ricochet. I don't think I made that I don't think I read that in the results, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have been...
You read it. You just mentioned Strowman and not Ricochet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was my fault. But, yeah, I thought the Viking Raiders are back to being on the right path in the winning circle again. I just don't like the way they've been booked so far. They repackage them to be these monster heels, and then all of a sudden they turn them into wimps, kind of like what Disney did to the Avengers there. You know, I think the Viking Raiders have got a good gimmick. The Valhalla deal, though, kind of still baffles me. I mean, I know it's Sarah Logan supporting her husband Eric there, but yeah, I think the Viking Raiders could do without that little bit, or have Valhalla be kind of a different type of role for those guys. And Charlotte Flair defeating Shotzi, didn't think the match really was necessary. I know Charlotte wanted a match with a viable contender or competitor. Not saying Shotzi wasn't viable, but I think it would have been better if Charlotte took on a heel than a face, for sure, because you got Rhea playing the heel. You might as well just keep the heel going against the face. And I think maybe that's probably what kind of threw the fans off too, because you got a lot of fans that support Shotzi like crazy. And then we see the end segment where Cody and Sami Zayn fight off or brawl it out with the Usos, which again, I think the focus of having Cody help Zayn out might make it a little more vulnerable for his main event match for WrestleMania. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe it'll be the part where maybe Cody is the one who ends up reuniting Zayn and Owens together to take on the undisputed tag team champions at WrestleMania. My thoughts as far as Roadblock, I thought overall it was a really good event. The Jail Hell Street Fight, I have to give kudos to actually Channing Stacks. Jesus, I can't talk.
Stacks.
Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Sorry, Stacks. I thought he was a real important part of that whole match, showing his loyalty to the Dawn and showing they definitely are family. Dijak didn't really look bad taking the loss there either, at all. I thought both men gave it their all. They made each other look good. I think Dijak is still going to have a good future here as long as they don't do any more stupid shit with him. As far as Gallus and Pretty Deadly segment, I thought that was kind of bleh. Didn't really make Pretty Deadly look like they were worthy contenders for the championships, but it looks like we're going to get that still and more than likely it's going to happen at Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker and the Creed brothers defeating Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher. I thought it was a decent match overall. I just didn't see where it was going after that. I mean, Creed brothers are probably still going to feud with Indus Sher, but the factor you got to look at is Jinder Mahal. And I don't know. I haven't been keeping tabs. I'm not sure if Roderick Strong's still with WWE or not. If he is, maybe he'll be making a surprise comeback and he'll be the one that evens that odd out with Jinder Mahal. Grayson Waller experience, I thought it was a good segment with him and Shawn Michaels going at it, and then out comes Johnny Gargano being the guy who's going to end up taking on Grayson Waller for Stand and Deliver. He's going to get his revenge after what Waller did when Johnny Gargano was saying his goodbye to the NXT universe. Gigi Dolan defeating JC Jane was kind of a real interesting one. I think the match could have been a little more aggressive between the two competitors. However, we know JC Jane's not going to be done with Gigi, especially after that post-match attack. Braun Breaker confronting Carmelo Hayes. That one, for sure, was a heartfelt story told right there between the two guys and their history of when they started here in NXT. And sorry, I had to take a swig of water. I love the fact that they told their story, how they started in NXT and were basically told they were the chosen ones. However, I think it's definitely time for Carmelo Hayes to be that champion that NXT needs. Braun Breaker's been the champion way too long, and you can already see the fans are starting to give him the John Cena treatment. It's time to put a championship on a different person, and I think Carmelo Hayes should be the one that holds it for a little while and then makes his main roster debut. I think it's time for Braun Breaker to go up to the main roster, but they need to repackage him a little bit. I think they need to give him some type of different character change. In fact, this is the one time where I know I've always said don't change their name if they're established, but I think this is the one time I would love to see maybe Braun Breaker carry on his father's and uncle's last name. Make him a Steiner in the main roster.
Yeah, I actually want to see him go main roster, and actually I want to see him go heel.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad either, because, that's how his father started, was a heel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that, really. Joe Gacy defeating Andre Chase. I don't have much thoughts on that other than it was cool to see Thea Hill finally break her fear of Ava Rain. But, yeah, I'm kind of with Duke Hudson on this. It's definitely time to kind of make this kind of a more serious and competitive faction here, because they're not going to get anywhere if all they do is keep losing. It's Duke Hudson definitely needs something better. They're going to stick it out with Chase U. Make those guys win some more here. Wesley and Axiom have a little bit of a confrontation in the back where Axiom pretty much makes it very clear he wants a shot at that North American Championship. However, I think we're going to see Axiom turn heel here. I just, because, Wesley basically said, hey, as long as you're that first one out there, you got the shot. And something tells me someone's going to interrupt Axiom again, and he's going to make that heel turn right then and there, because he's getting tired of not getting his opportunity. The NXT Women's Championship, we've already talked about this. Roxanne Perez defeating Meiko Satomura. I loved the entire match. Satomura definitely gave her all to Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez took everything she had. I just didn't like the ending with her passing out and needing to go on a stretcher, because to me that shows maybe you're not really as strong of a champion as you are. And to have that top title in the company, you gotta be able to take almost everything and anything. I think this is actually kind of getting to be more of a setup for maybe possibly a new champion to be in place. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think we're going to end up seeing Tiffany Stratton take that title from her. No?
I'm praying right now.
That they didn't put the championship on Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah, she's not there yet.
Well, I know I kind of missed talking about it, but Lyra Valkyria had an interesting promo earlier in the program where I think she was trying to challenge Mako if Mako was the one that came out the victor. However, now that Mako didn't win, are we still going to see Valkyria challenge Mako?
I don't know. There's only a couple of people I think really deserve the shot at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if Tiffany Stratton's really deserved it, but I kind of think at this point where how strong they've made her look now, I think it might actually end up being the right choice. And it's our favorite time as usual. We're here to our top 10. And Heather, ladies first this week. Go ahead and start with your 10 and go up to 1.
Okay, for number 10, I put Riho. Number 9, Chad Gable. Number 8, Action Andretti. Number 7, Takeshita. Number 6, Wardlow. Number 5, Top Flight and AR Fox. Number 4, Sami Zayn. Number 3, KO. Number 2, Mako Satomura. And number 1, I went ahead and put Roxanne Perez.
All right. William?
All right. I've got a few doubles on this one.
All right.
Number 10, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Number 9, the Creed brothers and Braun. Number 8, Riho. Number 7, AR Fox. Number 6, Wardlow. Number 5, Viking Raiders. Number 4, Bryan Danielson and MJF. Number 3, Jamie Hayter. Number 2, Gigi Dolan. And number 1, Moxley and Paige.
All right. My number 10, Tony D'Angelo. Number 9 goes to John Cena. 8, I'm kind of like there with you, Will. I did Sheamus and McIntyre. My number 7 went to Wardlow. My number 6, Riho. Number 5 went to Powerhouse Hobbs. Number 4, Roxanne Perez. Number 3, I kind of did a double. I gave it to both Sami Zayn and Jey Uso for their storytelling. Number 2 went to Hangman Adam Page. My number 1 went to the devil himself, MJF. And with that being said, our top 10s are done. We hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we're going to do shout-outs, and we talked about it off air already. But we'll double check with her. Heather, did you have any shout-outs?
No, I mean, just the usual people that I shout out. They know who they are. Love you guys. And just lots of love to everybody that listens.
All right. William, you want to give any shout-outs to anyone?
It's going to be pretty short and sweet. Basically, all of the fans, all the people listening, and a big shout-out to Carlos. We hope you get better real soon, bud.
Definitely. We look forward to having Carlos, even though he can be a bit of a heel sometimes. But yeah, Carlos, we hope you get better. I do have a couple of shout outs I want to give out there. I want to give one to Gilmary Gomez. She's one of our listeners out of Puerto Rico, and she's actually just informed me she's going to get to go to the Backlash pay-per-view and possibly the SmackDown before the pay-per-view there in Puerto Rico. So kudos to you, Gilmary. I hope you have a fun time going to both those events. I know you'll have a blast, and hope you get to tweet out some of your special moments at those events. Also want to give a shout out to a brand new listener of ours, coming from Libby, Montana, Kevin. Kevin, thank you for listening to us. We hope you continuing to listen to us and many others out there. Big shout out to Ted the Hillbilly Hill, who's no longer on Twitter, but still one of our biggest favorites out there. Please go support the Hill Truth. He's got great weekly episodes coming out sometimes every Monday, but every once in a while on Tuesdays, so be sure to check him out. Same with Wrestling with the War, Austin Boyer's Wrestling World, Jim at Fan in the Van, 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. Today we laughed and learned. Chris and Deb, who do a great job. And Ken at the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, the crew at the Chime In Podcast, and Films and Fermentation Podcast. Give all of them a listen here and there if you can. Great podcasts and also great individuals. Thank you to Libsyn for hosting this podcast and providing it to every available audio platform. Go visit our website at www.wrestlingfansinsight.com. Insight, of course, spelled INCITE. And we are available on Good Pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Ghana, YouTube, and much more. If you like our podcast and want to be notified of our latest releases, please subscribe on our page, thewrestlingfansinsight.com, or whichever audio platform you listen on. While you're at it, if it's possible, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd be happy to read your review on future recordings. You can also follow us and interact with us on Twitter. William, you want to give your handle?
It's at William, HOPPE 8.
Heather?
It's at BamaGirl _4 EVA. BamaGirl forever. Bro Tide, bitches.
Hey, she remembered. Woohoo. All right. And I want to give a special couple out there. One, our YouTube specialist, the Brian Adkins, Brian with a Y. Be sure to check out Brian's YouTube channel, The Tap Out Talk, where he does excellent reviews on all premium live events and pay-per-views. And even though he's not with us this week, be sure to follow Carlos on both of his Twitter handles. His nonprofit is at Conquer the No, and his personal is at C to the LOS 77. And you can also reach me on Twitter. Both my handles at WF Insight Podcast. My personal is at John JOHN WF Insight. And if you're on Facebook, look for our group at the Fans of Pro Wrestling. Lastly, if you'd like to leave us a text message or audio feedback on our voicemail, our number is 1-385-367-4772. We hope you enjoyed this week's programming, and we'll be back next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitter Space. Be safe, be kind, and have a great week, everyone.